The following message was recorded earlier because our clock is broken. What's new this month at Rogers Railroad Junction? We're starting things off with SD70 Aces, courtesy of Genesis. Introduced in 2004 as a successor to the SD70 Mac, the Ace was originally designed to comply with Tier 2 emission standards, although later versions delivered after 2011 met with the tougher Tier 3 requirements. Boasting a turbocharged V16 engine block with 710 cubic inches per cylinder, these machines are capable of producing 4,500 horsepower and a whopping 157,000 pounds of tractive force. With some units featuring a Tsunami 2 Soundtrax digital control system, working ditch lights, a detailed cab, treaded walkways, HTC radial trucks, cut levers, and a full set of MU connections are all standard equipment on these models. And then there's a name that we don't see often on our shelves, but Spectrum is here this month with EM1 class articulated steam of the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. Built during the early 1940s when production of diesel locomotives was curtailed by the National War Production Board, these massive two 884 locomotives would be the last series of steam power built for the iconic B&O. First making a name for themselves on the B&O's famous Cumberland division, these 628,000-pound behemoths eventually worked their way to the West Virginia Cleveland run and the Pittsburgh division's Johnstown branch, before finally being stricken from the roster in 1960. And although 3 units survived for several years as stationary boilers at an Ohio chemical plant, all members of the class were eventually scrapped. Built with a digital control system already installed, this model is pre-configured for easy drop-in of separately available Soundtrax speaker and digital sound system, while other features include a detailed cab with wind visors, overfire jets along the firebox, virtually all handrails and plumbing separately installed, and even minor differences in the style of builder's plate, depending on which year a specific prototype was delivered in. And then there's Walthers, who's kind of showing off with not 1, not 2, but 4 offerings this month, starting with 50-foot insulated boxcars. Built by Pacific Car and Foundry starting in the late 1960s, these journeyman freight haulers replaced the pre-war 40-foot cars that had been stalwarts of American rail since the 1930s. Featuring razor-sharp paint and molded details that stand up well to rough handling and the occasional derailment. And second up from Walthers, and third as well, sort of, 40-foot double-stack cars. Rebuilt from multi-car articulated sets by Thrall Corporation, these cars with their shorter lengths and single-unit status are often found in local delivery service, shipping containerized freight to secondary locations off the mainline routes of most intermodal unit trains. Accompanying 40-foot containers are also available, but are sold separately. And finally, there's Trinity Cement Hoppers. A chopped-down version of Trinity's ubiquitous 55-foot grain hopper, these cars can be found on most manifest trains, hauling cement and concrete to wholesalers and construction sites across the country. All Walthers products feature RP25 metal wheels, metal couplers, and optimized weighting. Then there's KD, who's also offering concrete options with cement hoppers from Pullman Standard. Like all hoppers in the Pullman catalog, These cars are identified as Class PS2 and were manufactured throughout the 1950s. Although their plain bearings and high brake wheels meant that most were retired by the time the 1980s rolled around, they nonetheless made their mark on American railroads. Featuring working roof hatches for that extra touch of realism. And while the code PS2 meant hoppers to Pullman, PS1 meant boxcars, and we've got plenty of them this month in both 40 and 50-foot varieties. Boasting working doors, wire mesh roof walks, air hoses and cut levers, and freestanding ladders, these cars maintain the high level of detail that you've come to expect from KD, and they're smooth runners to boot. And that goes for their holiday Christmas car as well. With a festive design chosen from submissions by KD employees, this car will be a cherished memento of the holiday and your hobby for years to come. And KD isn't the only one getting in the Christmas spirit. Kato has re-released their Operation North Pole train sets in N-scale. Based on a special livery adopted annually by Chicago's Metra Transit, Kato's ONP set offers an F40PH locomotive, 3 bi-level commuter coaches, and a whole lot of holiday spirit. And finally, there's Microtrains, which is offering Christmas boxcars in N and Z scales. With bold and colorful artwork highlighting the joys and the trials of the holiday season, their festive hues will be a welcome addition to any seasonal train room display. A very Merry Christmas to you and yours from Rogers Railroad Junction today.